Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episodes 15 and 16 of Season 2 of Riverdale. The Hills Have Eyes and There Will Be Blood. These are both pretty solid episodes. Of the two, I think I liked The Hills Have Eyes better, simply because there was just so much of the chemistry between the characters going on in that episode. We really got to see them, having these great friendship moments and clowning around and sort of acknowledging that they all share this extremely interesting and powerful bond. But Jughead observes that, they're so tightly connected to each other that in some ways it's like a powder keg. And sure enough, once there's a spark, everybody's yelling and getting pissed off at each other and, throwing old issues in each other's faces, just like real people do. Um, so I thought that was very, very enjoyable and very, very realistic. The whole thing with the hillbillies breaking into the cabin to rob the place. That kind of felt like some of the stuff you see in like horror movies, like Funny Games or The Strangers, or I have to say I was a little creeped out when Jughead specifically made a reference to the last house on the left. Um, if you're familiar with that movie, I think you can probably take a guess as to why. Um, but it's definitely a nice, real kind of really get into what's going on with the characters and their relationships to each other episode. And of course, we do have an important moment where Andre kills the thief, and Archie knows absolutely for sure what happened. So, before it's sort of like Archie is like pretty sure that Hiram had Nick St. Clair and his family hurt in a car accident. Here, but earlier Archie was like very clearly realized like if he had tried to, you know, rat on Hiram that Hermione would have had him tossed off a cliff. Here he flat out knows for sure Andre killed a guy. And moving on to the situation in the next episode, we see that he finds out that Hiram has been manipulating all this stuff so they can build this prison in Riverdale, and isn't above even manipulating Archie's dad. And I know a lot of people seem annoyed at Archie for apparently siding with his dad. I'm sorry, against siding with Hiram against his dad. But I think Archie's playing a deeper game here. I think he's realized that Riverdale and all the people he cares about, including Veronica, are never really going to be safe until Hiram is gone. Like, Hiram has to go. So, the Archie decided to take this mission on himself. I think that's what Archie's playing at. And it seems very in keeping with Archie. And, just sort of like, this high school kid deciding, like, I'm going to outwit this mob boss who also happens to be my girlfriend's dad. I mean, dang, that's some stuff. Uh, also like some nice moments with Jughead here, like when he finds out about the situation with Pops and decides to keep quiet about it simply because he doesn't want to hurt Pop's mother. I mean, that was a nice moment. We've really seen Jughead be very reckless and not really consider other people's feelings the way he should. But here, it's just such a nice humanizing moment. He's like, no, I can't do this. And you have to think that what happened with Tony's grandfather is probably also in the back of his mind. Speaking of Tony, I do like her bonding with Cheryl. It's kind of interesting here. For also we kind of get the information that Cheryl's into girls, so that kind of confirms a little bit more what we saw earlier with Josie. And it'll be interesting to see exactly where this friendship is interested, because we do know that Tony is bi, prefers girls, so Cheryl possibly having something going on with a serpent is the sort of thing that just would absolutely make her mother blow her stack. And given what we see of what's going on with Cheryl's mom and now her mysterious uncle, Claudius, popping up out of nowhere, yeah, Cheryl has pretty good reasons to be freaked out. When you know that your own mom is out to get you, that's pretty darn scary. And I absolutely love that whole thing with like Claudius walking in there. I'm just sitting there watching the episode. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, the whole twin thing is just like the most cliche thing ever. But this does lead credence to the idea that apparently the twins run in the Blossom bloodline, and that's true in real life. Speaking of bloodlines, we've got more of Chick being creepy, and ultimately Betty realizing that he is not a Blossom, or at least he's not Hal's son. Alice being his mother, well, that would still make sense. Of course, that does raise the question: if Hal is not Chick's father, then who is? Hmm. Well, it's no fun if it's not a character we don't already know about or have some sort of a connection to. And we know that there seems to be a little bit of a something going on between FP, or there was in the past between FP and Alice. So I mean, I'm spitballing here, but that would be absolutely mind blowing if Chick turned out to be Jughead's half brother. That would be insane. But again, that's just a guess on my part. Um, let's see. I do like that Veronica quite clearly and cleverly came up with a way to kind of cover for Archie. And I also liked how when when Veronica was getting into it with her mom, at first she's like, "No, no, no, mom, you need to not try and play Archie like this." And at first Hermione's like, "Look, Veronica, we're doing this for a good reason," and Veronica is adamant about it. There's this great moment where if you're really paying attention, you realize that Hermione understands, like, okay, this line of attack is not working. Time to switch gears and do the exact opposite of what I was doing a minute ago, and agree with Veronica. It's a beautiful moment of psychology, of knowing how to manipulate someone. And again, this is her own daughter she's doing this to. But it just goes to show you that Hermione is no slouch. She realizes what she's doing isn't going to work, and if she keeps going down the road, it's only going to make things worse. She immediately turns it around, starts doing the opposite thing, and within a minute, she gets exactly what she wants. And I also like the idea of her being the one to run for mayor after Fred dropped out. I mean, Fred running for mayor is an interesting idea, but everything we've seen from him so far doesn't really jive with his thing. Like, being mayor of Riverdale has always been my dream. Well, where did this come from? You've never mentioned this at all before. I mean, we do get a kind of a moment of bitter irony where Fred kind of has to stand up for what he believes in after the whole prison situation, and him ending up with those buttons and stuff, seemingly just sort of like, yeah, I had the chance to grab my dream, but I threw it away for my principles. And another nice thing with the buttons and stuff is that when Veronica comes in there and starts going through them, Fred says, "Oh, this one's my favorite," and Veronica is immediately like, "Yep, that's mine too." Which, sure, theoretically that's possible, but I have a feeling this is her just taking a page from her mom's playbook and agreeing with Fred because that helps her to get what she wants. And oh yeah, I do like that they're giving Kevin more to do in these episodes lately. He's had that really unfortunate encounter and situation with Midge and Moose. Here, he's finding out about what's going on with his dad and talking to Josie about it. He helps Betty with the Chick situation. So Kevin's been pushed to the background a little bit for a while. So I'm glad they're kind of giving him more to do. I kind of wish they hadn't left Reggie hanging so much, but whatever. The actor got recast recently, and whatever it is that Kevin has kind of been upgraded to the new sixth member of the gang more than Reggie, and okay, fine, I can live with that. I don't really have a big problem with it. Oh, boy, I think that kind of covers everything that I had to say. I mean, these are just both really good, fun episodes, and I had a lot of fun watching them. So, nothing else to say, guys. So, let's call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Who's Your Jedi, and please also join me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. Until next time, take care and have a good one.